For USCFootball.com, I'm Keely Eure here with Dan Weber for instant analysis of USC's 5th practice of fall camp. It was their first practice in full pads, but before we get to the day, we got to go to the biggest news. Porter Gustin, I know everyone's worried about that, but you can take a deep breath. Porter Gustin has a slight meniscus tear. He'll be out for a couple weeks. He's going to get a minor surgery tomorrow, but all things considered, that's the best news that we could have gotten.
Yeah, with the emphasis on the slight or the minor, and the fact that he showed up today, had a sleeve on that left knee, but he was, of all the guys that were here, maybe the rehab guys and guys with sore hips or whatever, he might have been as active as anybody. Yeah. So, and I know there was some thought, well, they won't do it till tomorrow because of the swelling or whatever. That doesn't sound like it even remotely, or he wouldn't have been out there all day. And part of everything had his, in shorts and his jersey on. But if you didn't know he was going to be a guy who's going to have surgery tomorrow, you probably wouldn't have guessed it. Somebody's looking, and he deserves to have somebody looking out for him.
Yeah.
And USC probably deserves to have somebody looking out for Porter. And what you could do at this point is say, this is really, you can turn this into a positive in terms of Kanai Moga, let's see, because we know Jordan Iosefa is going to play all 4 spots according to Clancy. Well, he's going to get a chance to do that very thing. And Juliana Falanika and Hunter Eccles, all of those guys are now being mentioned as, hey, you're going to get a chance. And so that may make the next couple of weeks really good for those guys.
Yeah.
And then, you get Porter back. And I know they're using the numbers. Rasheem Green had a very similar surgery last year, 2 weeks. Jenny Harris, 3.5 weeks. So they're, I know they say, well, maybe, it'll be 5. It really depends on how they rehab and how they, go about it. And if it's up to how they rehab, how they go about it, you got to feel, pretty good. But probably as well as it could have possibly turned out.
Mm-hmm. Like I said earlier, today was USC's first practice in full pads, or as Helton likes to say, live ball. So we got to see a lot of scrimmaging. It was essentially broken down into 2 team periods during practice. What were your general thoughts from the day?
And I think it was the most physicality we've seen in I think since Clay's been coach. I mean, I think that was a practice where they started off and they're going to, 20 straight runs, and the offense knows they're going to run the ball 20 straight times. The defense knows they're going to run it 20 straight times, and they just keep hitting it up in there with all 4 running backs, all of whom had good things, did good things today. Markese Stepp keeps showing you stuff that you just say, wow, look at that. I mean, he came down the sidelines once. He had shown power to get an opening, and then he showed the ability to tiptoe down at speed. Stephen Carr, obviously, he has a breakaway run where he just ran by everybody. Run it up inside right tackle, and probably shouldn't have wagged his finger at that defender he ran by and got caught with a full Pac-12 officiating crew, and they had him flagged before he got into the end zone. But he also caught 2 passes out of the backfield, so a really good day for Stephen Carr. And Vavae, I thought, showed some real niftiness, and Aca'Cedric is Aca'Cedric. So Clay really says that having that kind of a run game, you were just talking about it, is a quarterback's best friend. Take some pressure off the quarterback. One of the issues might be the fact that with Jack Sears and Matt Fink, you can run the read option with the thought that if it's there, that quarterback's going to take off. You run it with JT Daniels, they just collapse on the poor running back. He has no chance. So they probably going to have to figure out how to do. You probably don't want them running a whole lot of read option with JT Daniels in there. But other than that, I thought this was a positive day both ways. One of those days where you can feel good about the defense, you can feel good about the offense, and you can feel good about. It looked like Saturday game day football. The way they went after each other, gang tackling them to the ground. They didn't tackle in the red zone stuff, but the majority of they called it a mini-scrimmage. It was a little more than a mini-scrimmage.
Yeah, you mentioned the red zone portion. That's where USC's offense was struggling earlier this week. As you said, all three quarterbacks had a touchdown, and it was a positive sign for their offense. The whole offense would go and run and celebrate in the end zone. So it was a positive step forward. But at the same time, there's a little caveat because Clancy kind of pulled the more veteran guys and had some of the younger guys out there. So it wasn't against a first-team defense. But after having the week that the offense had, how much does that help them and give them some confidence?
Yeah, they needed to do that. I mean, we saw, I think, in the spring when they were having trouble on offense, it kind of took the air out of things. It just, you didn't, you thought, gosh, if it's going to be that tough to score. So I think you got to be able to score the ball. And if you score the ball, you feel good about yourself. And, so both sides, I thought, were really into it. They were really on one another and really wanted to play well. I thought it was, it was a good the first time we've had the boosters here today, and I thought they put on a nice show, for the boosters. I thought it was, I think it looked like pretty much everybody was pretty upbeat when they walked out here today. Like, okay, we accomplished something, we got something done, this was a good thing. And those are the kinds of practices you want to have. I mean, for me, I would continue the preseason camp for another week just because I think they get so much out of it. And, you do take a chance. I think Brandon Peely kind of busted his elbow, and he came out of there, but then he came back in. Chase Williams, yeah. Chase Williams. He was down for a while, and it's like, oh. And then he got up and kind of walked off. He was limping when he left the field, but I don't know how you can avoid that. I think that's football. And I think you avoid that, then you avoid getting ready for real football. I thought what they did today got them ready for real football.
Yeah. Going forward, Thursday and Friday will be shoulder pads only practice shells, and then Saturday is going to be another full pad scrimmage in the Coliseum. And Clay Helton has been putting a lot of emphasis on this scrimmage. He said they're going to treat it like a preseason game almost. It sounds like from what we're hearing, it's going to be a real test for the quarterbacks and what they do.
Yeah, and Clay said Saturday's going to be huge, So where he got that huge, we'll leave the political out of it. But you don't always hear Clay say, that kind of thing. I mean, Clay's all fired up, I think, for Saturday.
Yeah.
And so they'll get a chance to go through the Coliseum a little bit tomorrow. So, the Coliseum won't be brand new. It'll be only their second chance, and, that's the only two they're going to get in the Coliseum. So for a lot of reasons, I think Saturday is really big because they've still been kind of breaking it up for the quarterbacks. I think Saturday, the quarterbacks will get a chance to, this is your team for this drive or for now. And there won't be that feeling like, well, we got to go, 5 plays and then 5 plays and 5 plays and then 3 plays and 2 plays. I don't think they'll quite do it that way. It'll be more like a game, and you'll get more sense of what's going on there. But again, another day, Clay said, talking about the quarterbacks, he said, making it tough on you. A day like this doesn't help you because everybody had some good things. Everybody threw touchdown passes, and so it's kind of interesting how you've got to give Jack Sears and Matt Fink, and maybe Jack more than anybody, credit for raising the level of his game since the spring. Yeah. And it's making it, very, very interesting. And there are little things that happen. For example, JT Williams, they're at the goal line, and they decide, let's put him under center. And you think, has he ever been under
JT
center?
Daniels?
JT Daniels. Has he ever been under center in his life? I mean, he didn't ever at Mater Dei, so that gets you back into grade school. I'm guessing he probably wasn't even under center in grade school. So, and, of course, the ball ended up on the ground. Maybe, you might be doing that, but you might need to get it to where you're a little more comfortable doing it. Had a couple of low ball snaps, not as many as Clay said. Clay can always glass is half full. Well, it wasn't as many as the last time, and we're going to fix it. We got 25 practices and everything like that. I don't know. I think we still don't know for sure what's going to happen with center. I know the second time. They did get Toa out of there, so we'll see.
Yeah, Toa was pulled the first snap of the second team period. It was a muff snap. Toa was pulled for Brett Nealon. Helton wouldn't entertain the thought, though, of maybe moving Toa over for a younger sender, but he said, like you said, we'll get it fixed. I know Helton didn't want to have any judgments about the quarterbacks before seeing the film, but I'm going to make you do this. What did you think about all three quarterbacks? Was there a winner in your mind, or how did it play out for you?
Well, I think if you're going to have a team that's really going to be heavy run, that's not JT Daniels' game, okay? If you're going to have a heavy run and you're going to encourage your quarterbacks to run, I think that's the game for Matt and Jack, and probably Jack more than anybody. I think Matt's more of a kind of a workman-like runner, where Jack's got that, high gear that he can really hit it up in there. So I think if you're going to go run, and you're going to, run period, run heavy run game, and run quarterbacks, you got to go with the two running quarterbacks. I don't think they're quite going to go that way when it's game time, but. How they put those two together, the heavy run game, the run first, and having the run game as the quarterback's best friend, you still want that quarterback that can, hit that tough throw and all that. I think it's making it more difficult. I think going into this, I don't know that we really thought they would encourage the quarterbacks to run the way they are. Yeah. And they're clearly, if they're not encouraging them, they're not telling them no. And Matt and Jack have decided, our legs are a big weapon, and we're going to use it, and we're not going to throw it into a crowd. And so that kind of changes the dynamic, but it kind of gives you two different offenses, because it's more this traditional USC offense with JT in there. Yeah. But with Matt and Jack, it's more of they're going to run the read option. They're actually going to read it, and they may option may be that the quarterback keeps it. Well, that changes things. So I don't think we know the answer to that yet.
Yeah, well, that will be interesting to see for sure. I think we'll get a better picture as the week progresses. But that's going to wrap it up for Wednesday's practice. Tomorrow we will have a live show on YouTube at noon, so you can check that out. Also, tomorrow's practice will be in the Coliseum, so you will see us an instant in the Coliseum. Somewhere in the Coliseum, hopefully.
We're not sure how much we're going to be allowed on the actual turf of the Coliseum, but we're going to be in there somewhere.
It'll be somewhere around the Coliseum. But for Dan Weber, I'm Keely Eure. For more, check out uscfootball.com.